Hi ladies and gentlemen, Mark Lassie here. So I just had this really quick download, so I was like, well, I guess I'll go ahead and make a video, why not? So this video, I had a video was talking about, okay, so we're talking about like the ego, right? And the ego usually is like the manifestation of the unconscious. So what happens is the ego has all these belief systems and it comes from the external world, right? So it's kind of like the identity you created for the external world. That's not based on your higher self or your inner verse, but it's based on what the universe outside tells you how you should be, like all these expectations, right? So like they'll tell you all the rules and regulations of what society thinks that you should be, and then you kind of create, what happens is people usually create a mask or an identity that they feel is acceptable for society, and they wear it, and sometimes people get confused with that mask as their true identity, not realizing that that's just kind of a mask that they use to be accepted by society. But what happens when people get too comfortable in that mask, they kind of forget to come back inside, right? So what happens is sometimes when someone is really embodied into their spirit, they can like make that mask feel uncomfortable. And what happens is the mask, I forgot what I was gonna say. Can make that mask comfortable, but that's how it happens. Sometimes you flow and sometimes you don't. Okay, so you have that. Okay, I got it. But what happened is that mask can feel uncomfortable, but sometimes it wants to feel relevance, right? So the best way what happens when you see someone's ego is you just have to ignore it. Don't pay attention to it. Do not feed it, because the ego works on validation. It works on validation because it's from the external world, and from the external world it needs to have interaction. So what happened is the ego always wants attention, because attention is validation, because it doesn't have attention from the inner verse. It doesn't have the spiritual world and attention, so it needs external attention. But it also does this too when it fights. So the best way if you're going to fight someone who has ego is just to ignore it. Don't give it any validation. Just move on. Just like a narcissist, you do not pay attention. Even if they give magic to you, just give a mirror. If they give you magic, just pray for them, because the biggest fear for a narcissist or someone who has ego is irrelevance. So what happens is the best way is not interact with them, because if you interact with it, you get entangled in them. So what happens is you want to fight, you want to just maintain your peace. You don't want to hang out in the lower world, because if you fight with them, you kind of get bogged down into that lower vibration. And you don't want to, you just want to just like give a mirror at them and say, that's cool, you can stay there, I'm going to stay high. And that's my video.